Welcome back to First Due Overland's Digital Scout series. I'm Shane, and today we are opening up the core engine of our tech stack, and the sponsor of today's episode, as a matter of fact, onX Offroad. If iOverlander is our broad reconnaissance tool, onX is our precision strike. This is the tool we use to verify public land boundaries, check dispersed camping regulations, and utilize their 3D mapping to scout the topography and the view from camp before our tires ever hit the dirt. We're going to take the data we found in episode 2 and pull it into onX and then start building out the actual route for our 2026 Yellowstone and Tetons Expedition. With that, let's jump over to the MacBook and get started. All right, so over here in the MacBook, we obviously already have onX pulled up. But as you can see, I have all 2,000 of my waypoints on here. And obviously we don't need to see these, all of these. So I'm going to go in here before we get going. I'm going to actually hide all of these. Perfect. So we're starting with the clean slate. And then from there, I will just go and Tetons. Perfect. So this is the general overview of the trip that we have planned so far. I'll dive into the icons and the color coding that I use here in a little bit. But first, the biggest thing that we're going to look at is, and then probably the most important feature of onX, is the land ownership. This is the most pertinent part, and just for example, I'm going to use Washington State as an example because that's where we're based out of, and I'm super familiar with where public and private land and all that is. So first thing with onX, the beauty of it is you can decipher pretty quickly what is public land and what is private land. So if we zoom in here just for reference, so you see here in Western Washington, we have Mount Rainier National Park, Olympic National Park, and then we have North Cascades up here on the north end of the state. All of these are a lime green, neon color green, and that is what onX uses to show that, hey, these are national park boundaries. These are formal national parks. Generally speaking, as far as I'm aware, wild or dispersed camping is not permitted within the actual national park boundary. National forest, you can. National parks, you cannot. It has to be in an established camping area, or you have to have a hiking backcountry camping permit. From there, you notice these other shades of green, these kind of darker shades of green. This is all the national forest land. So we come in and we zoom in here. We have the Wenatchee National Forest here on the east side of Mount Rainier. You come over to here, you have the Snoqualmie National Forest on the north side. Same thing, you come up here up north, you have, if it'll load, you have the Snoqualmie National Forest, and you come over here, you have the Wenatchee National Forest. Excuse me. The biggest thing with national forests is you always, while dispersed camping, wild camping is generally allowed, you always want to check the local ranger station and check their websites just to make sure that there's not any sort of restrictions in place, especially as we get into the summer and wildfires and all that start to pop up. Just want to make sure that that area is not shut down for dispersed camping, or what the other regulations are. There are some areas within the national forest that they don't allow dispersed camping. There are some areas where there's a certain amount of days that you can stay. So you always just want to double check the requirements. And the beauty of onX is it will show you right here. It'll give you a link to go and view the national park website for that region. So, and you can see here, these are just general alerts for the entire Wenatchee National Forest, but always a great resource to check out. The other major type of dispersed camping or public land that you have to disperse camp on is managed BLM, or Bureau of Land Management land. And so that is shaded. It's kind of hard to see, but it's almost the yellow shaded color on the map. And then you can also see here, so down here, Department of Natural Resources. And this gets into the land ownership aspect of it as well. You zoom in. I don't want to get too close, but like this is a ranch, and so there's other areas where, and this is where you decipher what's public and what's private land. So as you can see, there's a whole bunch of trails here in this BLM region. But the one thing to always be conscious of, if you're planning a trip out, say you're going to go camp in this area, explore this area, the one thing you want to be conscious of is where you are on the trail. You know, because as you can see, some of these trail systems, and none of these actually connect, it looks like, or at least on the map they don't connect. But you always want to be, like right in here, you have this road that comes in through, and it cuts through BLM land, and then it continues going south. But then you have this jet off to the east that, this is BLM land right here, but it gets, as the road goes on, it goes through private land. Now, some areas, some property owners, they allow pass-through access to get to, because this property has, I don't know this property, I'm not speaking for this property, but it's been our experience in some cases, if there is a trail or a dirt road that goes through someone's property, the property owner will usually have some sort of signage at point A and point B at the end, marking, hey, whether or not you can pass through their land to access the other side. Some people allow that, some people don't. So it's always, when you're getting to this point on the map right here, if there is a gate, there is a fence, because it looks like there's a fence line right here actually. If there's a gate or a fence there and it says no trespassing, do not proceed, unfortunately you got to turn your rigs around and try to find another way to get to the other side. Sometimes you'll have it where they have a sign that says, stay on trail, please close gate behind you. In that case, you could, if you chose to, you could pass through, but you cannot disperse camp on that property. It's literally just, you're straight shotting through on the trail to the other side, to the, the other public land on the other side. Always, always, always double and triple check. If there's no sign, assume that you cannot access the property. It's better to be safe than sorry in those situations. So those are the main types of public land. You'll see, let me see if I can find it real quick up here, right here. Tribal reservations, Indian reservations, those are also shaded an off color, yellow, brownish. Scientific term there, brownish. Reservations generally, as far as I'm aware, do not allow dispersed camping. I know there are some on the peninsula, on the Olympic Peninsula, that you can purchase a permit to camp in some areas, but we steer clear to just to save ourselves the headache and the logistics of that. We just generally will pass through if we're going to point A to point B, but we generally don't camp, or no, we don't camp on reservations. Just respecting the land, respecting the culture, and all that. So those are really the main categories that you will see on onX, and you can see that as you zoom out, they're pretty well notated. You have the national forest, national parks, the reservations, national parks, and such. So onX does a fantastic job of deciphering what is public and what is private land, and then it's been an extremely valuable tool for us. We have not only have we learned from other YouTubers and other campers' mistakes on just being very mindful of land boundaries and making sure that we're camping on public land. It's been a great educational tool. It's something that as an overlanding resource here in the Pacific Northwest, we have people reach out to us all the time asking about land regulations and asking, hey, where can we camp legally in this area and whatnot. And we've even had people send us, hey, coordinates for, hey, is this a legit, can I actually camp here? And most of the time they get good information and they can't camp on that spot. But occasionally we'll run into like, no, that's private land. We highly discourage you from camping there. So that's the beauty of onX and the membership tiers that they have is you can get all the landowner information from that. Another great resource with this view is you can, so for example, here it shows you, so these are some of the, whether it's off-roading parks or, wheeling, that type stuff, you have some great resources here. So where there's already ones that onX has come up with. So like you have Green Mountain State Forest, Capitol State Forest. This is another super popular off-roading area here in Washington State. It's great. It's a great area for beginners. Just go out and test your rigs and all that. And that's what's kind of cool is as you explore onX, it will show you some of these areas here, state by state, and just give you a little bit of just a little tease on what it is. Kind of sticking with the color coding on the map as well. So you see here as we zoom in. We'll zoom in here to the Greenwater area. You'll notice a couple different color. Let me turn off a layer here real quick. We're gonna turn this off real quick and keep that. So you'll notice a couple different trail colors here. So you have the yellow, just these general yellow color map trails. We have these green colored trails, and then if we zoom out here, you'll have some blue colored trails as well. So this is onX's. These are courtesy of onX's Trail Guide network. So to include my First Due Overland team, the majority of our team members are onX Trail Guides. And so basically what that entails is we go out and we will map trails out here in our area or really around the region. We've mapped in Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and Montana, a handful of trails in each state. And we're actively working this year. That's another kind of goal of ours is to get back out there and get some mapping done and just to show new overlanders and people who are just getting into it, hey, this is basically giving them as much information as we can. So just for example, we'll click on the yellow these yellow trails that you see, these have not been mapped. And so when you get on these roads, take some caution, or use some caution, and know that this road may not go through. It may be a dead end. It could possibly be gated as well. onX, actually, shout out to onX for this, is they are doing a huge push this year to get a lot of these trails mapped, because that's the biggest thing is, educating the outdoorsmen, educating, those who go out and wheel and use onX. And basically you don't know what you're getting into with these trails, which yes, and some people look for that. They like that sense of adventure, but also to, at the end of the day, you want to know, hey, is this trail, one, what can I expect? Two, does this trail actually go through? Does it still exist? Because there's a lot of these offshoots, because I'm somewhat familiar with this area. We camped out here a ton over the past several summers. A lot of these little spurs that you see, they don't go through, or they are so overgrown that a vehicle can't get through them. So take the yellow ones with a grain of salt. The green ones, these green color coded. So this is a trail that has been mapped by a trail guide. And the cool thing about this is, so you click on the trail, it highlights the entirety of the portion that person mapped. So it starts here at 410 and it goes pretty deep down here into the national forest. And it gives you all, so someone, since it's been mapped already, someone has already tried to go out there about a month and a half ago, back mid-March, to do it. So this was marked as a seasonal closure. The road was gated. Oh, and they tried to do it at the dark. Whew. Crazy. But it marks, that's the cool thing. So we'll touch on that in a minute. But so you have the most recent trail report on it. It gives you the distance of that trail that they mapped. So they mapped a 36-mile trail. The highest point on the trail was about 4,800 feet. Lowest point was about 1,800 feet. They rated it a 2 out of 10, so an easy difficulty. And this is a point-to-point type route. You'll see some where they're point to points, or they're out and backs, which out and backs is basically what it sounds like. It goes out to a dead end or whatever it may be, viewpoint, and then it's back to the trailhead. It shows you what it's accessible by, so four-wheel drive type rigs, and then a description. This is the most important part. This is something that onX has stressed with us as trail guides, is to be as detailed as we can and try to show as much information into these write-ups as we can to give someone who's sitting at home scouting, looking for where they're going to go, basically give them as much detail and of an idea as what they can expect on the trail as they can. So this one's great. It's you'll come some larger rocks and a few ruts. Gravel is mostly non-existent, replaced by dirt and rocks. Plenty of beautiful views, lookout spots, and whatnot. So great description. Shout out to Nicole for this trail, and then also to something to expect. There is photos. So that is something too. With as trail guides, part of our duties or responsibilities when mapping these trails is to take photos, whether it's of trail conditions, street signs, views, obstacles, whatever it may be. So then that way, again, for you sitting at home, you can sit here and you can understand, oh, hey, this is what I want to do this trail. This is what I can expect, doing Forest Road 70, which if you're in the local Washington area, Washington area, and you haven't done Forest Road 70 and you're just looking at getting into off-roading, great trail to check out. Some amazing camp spots along it, some amazing views of Mount Rainier, and definitely highly recommend it. We have a ton of spots in that area. And then the trail difficulty rating. So last but not least, trail difficulty rating. So they rated it a 2, and then they also, again, with the rating, they tell you why they rated it a 2. Most of the roads easy going, some paved, rest is gravel and dirt. Areas where there's some ruts, large rocks, and such. So always take a look at the trail rating, take a look at the write-up, and then determine if it's something that you want to do. Up next, so we'll kind of go into the we'll actually now dive into our Yellowstone trip. Because like I said yesterday, or in the previous episode, let me go shut this folder. Like I said in the iOverlander episode, so we've already added some waypoints to this. So for this, I'll just kind of dive into what the waypoints that we have are. Some of them are pretty self-explanatory, and then the color coding and all that. And again, the color coding and all that, that's what works for me. I'm a very visual person, and so I like to be able to differentiate waypoint types just at a quick glance, especially when I'm in the initial planning phase of a trip. Having these color coded, gas is red, rest stops are yellow, water is blue, wood camping spots are green, desert or arid camping spots are brown type stuff. Having that visual when going from I'll pull it up real quick. When going from this to this, or trying to figure out if I'm going from this waypoint to putting a trip together based off of this to something like this, it's nice to have the color-coded waypoints. So real quick, we'll just jump into it. So red obviously is fuel with the gas icon. This purple, this is the route that we are taking, or this is the planned route that we're going to take to get to Yellowstone from here at HQ. It'll go from headquarters all the way down to the first camp spot of our trip. Like I said a second ago, yellow, that's rest stops. So those are DOT managed rest stops. So WashDOT, IDOT, Montana, or MDOT, all those are their rest stops. We generally We generally don't stop at rest stops unless we need like a stretch break or someone just can't absolutely hold it. We generally try to, for us, we try to build in, the bathroom stops with the fuel stop. So if we're at Love's or Pilot J's or something like that, we try to do make it a multi-purpose stop. Up next here, you see we have the binoculars and such. This is just outside Missoula. So this is a couple different things. Binoculars generally are scenic or like tourist attraction type stuff. For us, this is Shields in Missoula. Again, if you haven't been to Missoula, if you haven't been to a Shields, budget at least 2 hours. It's like the mecca for outdoor adventuring. Super, super cool store. I highly recommend. This should actually be, hold on. This is the wrong one. No, this isn't the right one. So again, grocery stores. This does need to be changed though, because this should be purple. Perfect. Grocery store. So stocking up on food. I have this color coded and whatnot. And then again, you see gas. The HQ. That's onX headquarters. We always, whenever we're passing through Missoula, we always stop in and either bang on the door, and if no one's there, or we just take our quick little photo op with the HQ sign and move on to the next rest stops. We already went over those. And then again, just some more. So we mark restaurants. Actually, I think I need to update this. Or is this an actual grocery store? Nope. This is Bozeman. Yep. Walmart. This was Winco and whatnot. And then fuel. So I generally, especially when we're early summer, or if it's like a quick weekend trip, we'll stock up on groceries and stuff before we leave. For a longer duration, like this trip is going to be a 11 or 12 day trip. We will probably have multiple grocery stops. So that's why I have, you'll notice I have quite a handful of grocery stores and kind of food stops notated, just so that way, when we're passing through an area, we know, hey, here's the grocery stores we have back home, Winco, Walmart, Fred Meyer, and all that. Just so that we can kind of build our day around that, and also to attendee preference. If someone has a preference for a certain grocery chain, that's already built into the route. And then now the meat and potatoes, now the fun part. So now as we get down here in the Yellowstone, you'll start to see that these icons, you'll start to see a lot more color coding, a lot more colors, a lot more different variety of icons. Generally, the way I have my onX setup is, so all of these, like these the dark brown, the dark blue, the green, these are all, with the X icon, these are all just camp spots or camp locations. So the way I have my onX setup is if I haven't verified that this camp spot is actually legitimate and not necessarily legal, but if I haven't seen it with my own eyes or know someone that has camped at this spot, I mark it as an X. Once I verify it in person, or once I know someone that has camped at that location, it then gets the little tent icon marking that, hey, this is a legitimate camp spot, whether I've laid eyes on it or someone I know and trust has laid eyes on it. So we have quite a bit of options down here coming down into Yellowstone. I did this because depending on what time we roll in, depending on what park traffic is like, our first choice may not be available. So it's better to have as many backups as you can. Again, the brown shaded camp spots or icons, those are more arid, flat, not necessarily desert type, but desert-esque type camping areas, camping environments. Blue, the camp spot is located on or within walking distance of water, whether it's a river, lake, pond, whatever it may be. And then green is forested or wooded in trees or field, nice green pastures, fields type stuff. And then as we zoom in here to basically right before you enter the park, you see we have a couple of things. And so that's something I've always, when planning these trips, whether it's a weekend trip or a longer trip, I always make it a point to do what we can to support the local economy. And so for this, I've gone and I've actually marked 2 restaurants that have, I don't need that, 2 restaurants that look freaking fantastic. So we will we will visit one or both of these restaurants, and then gas up here, and then we have potable water. So this will be, when we get ready to go into Yellowstone, this will be like the third or fourth day since we've left the house, or left home base. And so I've marked some potable water stations along the way, because by this point we may very well need to refill our potable water. So marking those before we go into the park. And then a couple other things, showers and laundromats. Again, yes, we have rinse kits. Yes, some of us have outdoor showers, but at the same time, if for some reason we need to wash laundry, if we want to actually take like a nice shower, again, I mark those on here. This should be a restroom icon, not a X. Let me fix this real quick before I forget. Restroom. Where's it under? Standby. Restroom. So say that restroom. That, and then I have the ranger station marked, and then from there we go down into Yellowstone. And then same thing, there's a potable water here right in Mammoth. There's another potable water station. So say this one outside the park, we pull up and it's like, that's kind of sketchy, or it's shut down or whatever, or there's a line to use it. There's other options that I've found along the way. And then, so what are these down here? So then I've already gone through and I've pinned some hikes, I've pinned some waterfalls and such. And so as it gets closer, we'll kind of build this out. I don't want to say we're winging it once we're in. We've budgeted 2.5 days to go and explore Yellowstone. We will. It is rare that we camp in campground, but for the purpose of this trip and just for Yellowstone, because Yellowstone is so huge, we are camping in a campground. 2 of the nights we are in Yellowstone, just to save some miles, save some time. And so once I'm able to have a chat with all of our attendees and kind of nail that down, I'll kind of then from there build out what the route for each day will look like and such. And then, we go down to the Tetons. Same thing. I've got some hikes, pins, some trailheads, some lakes and waterfalls. That's the gist of waypoint and such. And then probably honestly one of the coolest and probably one of my most favorite features on onX. And let's see, I might have to actually change browsers for this to work. I think I will. Yes, I will. So stand by. Hands down, one of the coolest features with onX is 3D mode. So, and it's as quick and simple as you literally just come over here to where it says 2D, click 3D. It will throw it in the teaser 3D mode, and then you can literally just rotate. You can rotate it, zoom in, and then, let me flip this back around before I get lost. Zoom in, and it will, right there. There's the Tetons in 3D mode. So this is super, super cool, especially if you are, so like up here in Washington, for example, this is a great tool to have, because say you're just one day you're just winging it on onX, like, oh, look at this trail, and I'm gonna follow this trail up and see where it dead ends. Oh, hey, it dead ends right here. You can throw onX in 3D mode, rotate the camera or the view down from what that elevation of that camp spot is, and you can look and you can see, hey, does this have a view or not? Super, super cool tool. The only thing you have to worry about is hoping that when you get to the spot that it's actually not foggy or cloudy out and you can see said view. So that is something that I always encourage people, and when you are new to onX, when you're new to overlanding, or you're wanting to kind of just get ahead of the curve and see what to expect, always throw it in 3D mode. Another super cool thing that we've done is over Southeast Oregon, the Owyhees, Leslie Gulch area. Before we went and went down there, actually when we were still kind of looking for the access trail, we threw onX in 3D mode. Then we're driving down trails looking for Leslie Goltz, and that's one of the ways we actually found it. So super useful tool if you're looking at exploring a new area. Yeah, no, it's I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, super useful tool. And yeah, in a nutshell, that's onX. Route building here, I can just, for example, the route building tool here is super cool as well. I'll just do a quick demo on that. Say we're camping, so we're camping. Our campsite's up here someplace. So we're just gonna go. We're gonna leave camp here, and we want to say, all right, hey, so we're gonna camp down. We just want to come down to the Tetons, and so we're not camping in the Tetons this trip though. But say we want to go explore this trail, so we're just gonna come down here, and we're gonna hit right there. And the super cool thing is it will auto snap your route and build your route. Now, I'm gonna throw a disclaimer in here. When you do this, before you save the route, before you follow this route with your vehicle, always check that it is keeping you on 2-track or 2-lane road. I have ran into, it's been a while, and it's only been once or twice that I've ran into this, but one of them was during an actual scavenger hunt race where I clicked, hey, here's where I need to go route. And it routed me, or it tried to route me straight up a mountain, up a hiking trail to the lookout that the scavenger hunt prize was at. And I said, yeah, no, not no, but hell no, I'm not literally scaling a mountain to get up there. So, but the other 2 people on my team that did the route button or did the route feature, it routed them the correct way and all that. So could have been a fluke, but I ran into it a couple times with onX. So since then I've always been able to just double check, because the last thing you want is to be in a situation where you are at a trail or you're at a dead end and it says turn right, and you're looking and you're like, that's a dirt bike trail or that is a hiking trail. I can't drive up there. And then you're sitting there with either 0 cell service or minimal cell service, trying to figure out where, how to get from there up and back around. So yeah, those are the big 3. All right. So using onX Offroad, we found the public land, we've checked the 3D terrain view, and we've dropped a handful of waypoints on what looks to be some nice secluded and ideal camp spots. But here's the problem. onX, while it gives us the ground truth, it doesn't necessarily give us the full environmental truth. Yes, it provides some weather information like sunny conditions, cloudy conditions. You'll have some rain and some wind, but it doesn't give you the full picture. Standard weather forecasts vary widely depending on the day, the app you're using, and the forecast model you're looking at. A generic weather app on your phone, it's not going to tell you exactly when that 30-mile-an-hour gust is going to hit your specific camp spot, or what time the sun is actually going to hit your solar panels the very next morning. To answer that, we need all the data from all of the forecast models. But instead of going and looking at each of those forecast models individually, that's when our next tool comes in. In the next episode, the FDO team and I are bringing in a very highly specialized tool and a special guest as well. Makil, the creator of campspotter.io, is joining us to show us exactly how we take that onX waypoints that we found, plug them into CampSpotter to get high resolution, hyper local environmental confirmation of the campsite before we ever even put the rigs in drive. If you guys are getting value out of this workflow in this series, do me a favor real quick, hit that subscribe button down below, smash that notification bell to get notified every time a new episode drops, and while you're at it, drop a comment below letting me know what your favorite feature of onX is. The full Digital Scout playlist is linked right here on the screen so you can keep building your digital tech stack. In the meantime, I'm Shane with First Due Overland. Stay prepared, and we will see you on the trail. Bye, guys.